Brandon, thank you very much for your time. What's your take on the John Mateer story?
Right out of the gates.
But I'm pumped. Let's just start with a fastball up and in, right?
Kept me up all night because I was having to follow it and dig on it. We're in a weird world, and I as a journalist, you constantly question everything. You have questions like, well, what if it's this? What if it's this? Even if it's like a 2% chance. And my first reaction when I actually saw like the screenshots and everything, I just immediately thought, it looks like someone just putting in maybe a funny descriptor in their payment, because who would be dumb enough if they're gambling on something to literally put in the description sports gambling? So that was kind of one of my first thoughts. And then I kind of just thought it would lead to this. What happened today is a denial. It's a false accusation. These were inside jokes. And then of course, OU saying we take this seriously, we'll look into or whatever. So it's in this, it's almost like a TMZ-ish story where it's just like this. It's almost like reality TV coming at us in real time. Or getting to follow it, and it's fascinating because you're seeing maybe the personal side of someone you don't really get to see, and just how ludicrous something like that could be. But here in the end, we're not even 24 hours into this quote unquote news story that came out from a fan just going through players' Venmo transaction histories and found funny stuff, and then something that said sports gambling on it that, it's already starting to die down. Doesn't mean it's over, but as one person put it to me today, it's like, you don't think that sports gambling is going on across the country among student athletes. I got something to tell you. And, it's just kind of, I don't know. It's just, you try to follow up on all this stuff, and it just seems like in this day and age, we're always looking for something. And there's the dangers of social media, but all of our lives being online, not just social media, but our lives being online, that you something that's up there, someone, if they can find it and they find a line that goes, it can really get you. And I just hope that someone wouldn't be dumb enough to put out their quote unquote sports gambling and describe it as sports gambling and something. But a lot of people have been chasing this, and I'm ready for Saturdays. I'm ready for
No kidding. Yeah. So Mateer hopes he gets to play on Saturdays, depending on what ends up in the end.
Brandon, before we get to that, I saw a clip from you last week that I thought was really good. We talked about it on the show about, we've got all these ADs that are now kind of coming around, general managers, all this, to collective bargaining. And that's all well and good. It's probably the quickest way to solve this problem, but there's no quick way to solve this problem. And you highlighted the fact that basically college athletes will all need to have proxies to do this. And that is not easy to solve, because people are going to be gone in 5 years if they get eligibility the way that they want. So just best guess, a decade before we even got to it if they tried?
It'll be at least several years, because there's a lot of things that have to change in Washington as far as just laws. And then commissioners opening the door for, player representation. Though, as you said, and then people I've talked to, there's more ADs coming around to the idea that there needs to be a players association or collective bargaining. But even if they're like, okay, let's do this, it's a matter of how do you put it all together, because not every sport's the same. Not every level of one sport is the same. And for that matter, not every school is the same. Not every state is the same. So you got to figure out something that along those lines legislatively, but also, as you mentioned, this isn't like the NFL where in a players association, you're representing a certain amount of athletes, a certain amount of players, where in college football, you're talking about thousands and thousands, but there's different tiers to that. And then when you talk about representatives for that, you could put say a Diego Pavia up there, like he's the face of, the SEC or whatever, to help kind of do things for you in the meeting rooms for you. But he's only around for 2-3 years, and then you got to move on to the next guy. There's no consistency there. There's a lot of reasons why something like that just probably couldn't work. Doesn't mean it shouldn't work. And there's got to be something out there. My question is like, is this a situation where, listen, okay, I'm going to backtrack here to say this. One administrator put it to me perfectly. You've never seen an employer go, hey, you guys need to create a union. That doesn't happen.
Yeah.
It comes from the workers themselves. They galvanize. They come together and say, we got to do this. Also, if that doesn't happen amongst the players, then it's just, we're not going to get anywhere. The players have to come up with this organically and do it. They can't have someone else tell them, hey, you need to do this. And then also, once they do that, you have to convince all these players that if you want to be part of this, you have to be willing at a moment's notice to go on strike. Because at some point, you will go on strike. That's going to happen. It's going to happen if you create a players association of some sort. It might happen in the offseason, might happen during the season. Are you willing to do that? Are you going to do it at a moment's notice if your organization says we're going to do this? There are a lot of hurdles, many hurdles. Can we get there over the next decade? I think so, but it's all going to start in Washington and then the players recognizing they need to galvanize themselves. I think we're still probably a couple years away in this new era of revenue sharing before players start wondering, we need to tweak this part of it, or we don't agree with this part of the new house settlement stuff and the revenue share. And then they start to come together. I still think we're a couple, maybe few years away from there actually being a movement that organically happens among the players. And then from there, there's still many hurdles to overcome.
So, Brandon, as a younger college football fan, years and years ago, I remember the stretch where for like 5 seasons in a row, Jon Gruden was going to be the coach at Tennessee, like the groomers, as you will. And, everybody's seen all the stuff that's floating out with his lawsuit against the NFL, but also the comments that he made about, he would love to coach in the SEC, and that's got a lot of people talking. What do you think the likelihood is that something like that could actually come to fruition?
Last September, I went down to Tampa and I hung out with him for a few hours. And we did an exclusive story with him. And he said for the first time ever, publicly to CBS Sports, I want to coach college football. Now, in that story, we did our due diligence and we spoke to dozens of administrators on the big level and also on the group of 6 level about whether they would even interview him, let alone say, hey, would you want him to be your head coach? And it was pretty split among all of them about, well, yeah, I would interview him, or heck, I don't even know if I'd interview him because of his past, but also because of his present, in the sense that he hasn't had a winning season in years, number one, in the NFL. And secondly, he's never been a college head coach. Now, he's done a lot to, quote unquote, I guess, repair his image, so to speak. He's been in the media a lot more. He's been much more up front and center. And he's that type of personality that everybody kind of gravitates to anyway. So I think that there is a better chance today than there was even last September when I sat down with him. Having said all that, I have a theory here. As much as like his past can be a detriment to him and what he dealt with near the end of the NFL when those emails came out and him getting employed anywhere, let alone being a head coach of a college football program. But we're always in the here and now, and people always kind of copy each other in sports. It's just how it happens. I think what happens at North Carolina under Bill Belichick this year might more greatly affect whether Jon Gruden could be a head coach in college football in a year or two. And why is that? Because the NFL background, they'll try to make comparisons. Well, if Bill Belichick struggles in his first year with the staff that would probably look very similar to one that Jon Gruden would build, wherever he were to take over as a head coach somewhere in college football, you're probably going to see a little bit more reluctance from ADs out there to even interview, let alone hire Jon Gruden. Having said that, there will be people interested if he shows a general interest in wanting to do it. But my sense from talking to him even back in September, and then, of course, going through here in the future, is that he wants a bigger job. He doesn't want to go coach at a group of 6 school. He wants to be in the SEC or the Big Ten or something like that. But if there was a time to strike for him, it is this year, because he's kind of he's been not necessarily a media tour, but he's been front and center with Barstool Sports. He's out there a lot. You could see his passion. He's one of the smartest football guys I've ever been around. Just in a few hours I was around him. I think he is a hell of a coach. I think he's a great developer of quarterbacks. And that's something that's certainly going to turn people on. But there are going to be a lot of jobs open this offseason coming up, especially in a league where he wants to coach, is what he said in that video that was released at Georgia. He wants to be in the SEC. And you could probably see as many as 5 jobs come open in the SEC this year. There wasn't one single change at head coach after last year, and that's only happened 3 times in this century in the SEC. But there's going to be a lot of jobs, and I'm sure his name will come up at a few places, and it's going to be fascinating to watch. But I'm actually kind of working on that. I'm not going to tip my hat, but I'm going to go back to some of the people I talked to back in September to see if their opinions have changed on him, and I'm fascinated to see what they think as well now.
One of my favorite things, and this leads into something we want to show in just a second, is when he brings in a box from Colorado or whoever it might be. And it reminded me of what I saw, and I texted you over the weekend. I sent you a text. Here's a video on Brandon Marcello's timeline from over the weekend.
Package from CBS Sports Today. I know what it is, but I can't wait to see it. You can probably guess. I don't know if you can guess what it is. Okay. Let's see. Looking forward to a great college football season. CBS Sports Talent Group. Me too. I'm glad we're finally in football season because it seems like it's gone on forever without it. Here. Okay. Ooh. Fancy. It's a beaut. Look at that. Let's see if it fits. Oh, it fits. Oh, it fits. I'll see you on the sidelines.
All right, so there we are. It's like what Gruden would open up. The CBS patch, the CBS Sports, the history, the tradition is unbelievable, Brandon. Congratulations on that and what you do all overall. But that had to be, you knew what it was, but it was still pretty cool to see it when you opened up the box.
Yeah, I think if you had a heart rate monitor on me, it'd be skyrocketing. Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, because I knew I was working on, I was going to do some sideline stuff for the CBS Sports Network this season. And I just assumed, hey, I'm going to be on the field. So I didn't think about, I need to dress nice or whatever. Then they reached out to go, hey, what's your a good address for you? Because we need to send you a blazer. I went, oh, the CBS Sports blazer, the eye on the left breast, the eye. And then I also thought, man, I'm going to be sweating quite a bit if I have to wear that thing on the sideline. Because my first game that I'm doing on the sideline is week 3, and it's in the South. So it's going to be pretty hot, most likely. And but I'm just glad that the blazer is a darker color, so my sweat stains probably don't show through it. But I can't tell. I mean, it's an absolute dream, dude. It is so amazing to see that in person, but to know that I'm going to wear it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the pinnacle of sports broadcasting, in my opinion. I mean, any network jacket, you saw those growing up. I mean, even way back in the Monday Night Football games when they first started up in the 70s and the 80s and 90s. I can't believe that I even get to be among a group that's been able to wear that blazer. I can't put it into words. It's amazing.
Well,
Vern
congratulations.
Lundquist. I mean, like, think about that. Like, just like you can just go to one name, and like Vern Lundquist, like he got to wear it too. That's really awesome. Yeah. I think you need like a jacket. Like Gary Patterson had the sweat towel assistant. You need just a jacket holder. So then when they're like, "Hey, they tell you in the IFB, we're gonna go down to you," you can just like throw it on.
Yeah, I might be willing to pay someone to do that for me, just so I don't have to sweat through the thing. Or I might like the towel. I might just be like Jerry Tarkanian and just put a towel in my mouth and chew on it until I need it.
Look,
I need to do that.
Look, there are willing interns in every college town that would love to follow you around. So you'd be like, look, I know this is going to seem stupid, but you're going to have to hold my jacket.
I don't want to seem like I'm very difficult and a prima donna, because I've seen people out there. They're like, hey, can you carry my stuff in? I've never been that type of guy. I'm always helping everybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I might like install like a little fan underneath there or something. I'm gonna have to figure something out.
There'll be something.
Yeah.
Yeah, there'll be something. Well, congratulations. I wanted to share that with you. That's a big moment, and you've earned that opportunity along with all the other stuff that you do.
Yeah,
Brandon,
thank you so much, guys.
Yeah,
I
you're
really
welcome.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Brandon, the season starts next week in Ireland. Did you ever think that you would be looking forward to a Farmageddon so much after an offseason like this?
Yeah. Oh, no, I mean, here's the
I
thing,
love
man.
it, but like still.
I'm gonna tell you. I mean, I love college football so almost so freaking much. Like you guys can't see it. I'm sitting in front of a gigantic like curved screen right now. I can put as many as 9 games on this, which it's not good like for attention or whatever. But the great thing about social media, like one of the few things great about social media, is that you can follow a game and it's something big happens. It's like a 20-second delay. So you're like, oh, I've got that game on here in the left corner. So I can go to it and see what just happened. And it's a community when you're watching college football on Saturdays, right? Everybody's watching, everybody's reacting to it, everybody's showing their raw emotions. We're all like being human. We're not being stuck up jerks all the time. And you're sharing in that. And that first Saturday, whether it's a week 0 or week 1, I mean, getting to plop down and watch games, or my job now actually being to travel to the games, and just like simple, stupid stuff that no one thinks of. But like even the fact that like walking from my car to the stadium somewhere, it's like a 20-30 minute walk, just pulling out my phone and watching the game or following on Twitter what's going on or listening to a game in my ears. And you're around the tailgating as you're walking up to the stadium. There's nothing like it in America. There's nothing like it in the world other than maybe soccer overseas. It's different. College football is different from the NFL, from every other sport. And I just love it. And I love being at a game and getting to write stories about players doing remarkable things that seem otherworldly and impossible to do physically, but also just from the human aspect of a lot of these kids had very difficult childhoods and had to bust their tails to get out of the situations they were in to become the top tier athletes in college. And then they get to go prove it out on the field and work and make themselves better by their God-given talents. And those stories is why I do what I do. I love being able to share their stories with everybody so you can humanize everything. And again, it's a big community. We all share it. And it's a raw emotion, and we all are real. Like for one day of the week on Saturdays when everybody just lets themselves out and be free and have fun.
Someone just said, I know you got to go. They retired stockbroker. I'll pay Brandon $1,000 if he opens up his first show and comment with "Hello, friends."
That's how it is. Yeah.
I've been thinking like, what do I need to say? I have my own saying, which it's how I end shows or whatever I do it. But
right.
I don't know if I can ape that. I don't know if you can give me all the money in the world and say, if you just say that, because that's not my thing. And that's protected, man. That's that thing is so, I mean, it's Jim Nantz is so tied to CBS, and CBS is Jim Nantz, and Jim Nantz is CBS, that you leave that to Jim Nantz and CBS. I do not want to try and copy the greatest out there ever.
No. Yeah. Hey, you do be you. You do you. And Brandon, you do it well, man. We appreciate your time with us today. Thank you very much, and congratulations on the jacket.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Brandon
much.
Marcello, great stuff on Gruden.